Hi, I'm Scott Davis, and welcome to New World Birth. By accessing this presentation, you're inviting me to share this information about our passage through this current challenging yet also very hopeful time. Today is January 16th, 2011. It's One Eagle in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. Basically, One Eagle begins a 13-day cycle that's about ascending to higher perspectives, getting a higher view of things. If you think about eagles, eagles soar high above the earth, basically taking in everything in their periphery, but they're also able to focus on the slightest, smallest movement down on the ground. So this is really a time about being in your intuition, giving energy to your visions as we move to growing into a higher state of consciousness. We're currently in the 7th day of the Galactic cycle. The Galactic cycle is up here, the 7th day. Basically, we go through 13 different stages, and the 7th day is the last of the 13 stages. So right now we are in between, we are in the 7th day of the Galactic as we're preparing for the beginning of the Univesal cycle in March 9th. Excuse me. Basically, I want to just talk a little bit about the current astrological transit field as it relates to the Mayan calendar. On the 17th and 18th, we'll experience Mercury merging with Pluto. Mercury is the mind and communication and technology. Pluto is the most powerful planet in the astrological field. It rules death and rebirth. So when we have Mercury resonating with Pluto, knowledge is power. You may experience intensity in the mental realm, or you might experience power struggles or arguments during the 17th and 18th of January. Next we have a full moon, and it's in 29 degrees of Cancer on the 19th. This is the 4th out of 5 full moons. This is really important. We've had 5 full moons that were in 29 degrees of whatever sign that full moon was prior to the beginning of the Univesal cycle on March 9th. So basically we're getting 5 full moons. The 29th degree is about completion as it gets ready to move into the 0 degree of the next sign of the zodiac. So basically the astrological field is talking about completing before we hit a new beginning. And the new beginning, we're going to get a taste of that on the 22nd when Jupiter enters Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's about fiery new beginnings, and basically with Jupiter moving into Aries, this is going to start to set the tone of the Univesal cycle. And during March, with the Univesal cycle, we'll have 5 planets in Aries. So basically Jupiter moving into Aries is kind of like kicking the doors down, opening the floodgates, getting ready to have some of this really intense energy to start to rush in during the Univesal cycle. It's a very exciting time. Saturn goes retrograde in Libra on the 26th, and it's going to be retrograde until June. On that same day, Mercury is in a challenging square to Saturn. So this is a time to make plans. It may also be a time to revisit your responsibilities. So during the next 13-day cycle, there's going to be some opportunities for new beginnings, Jupiter, Uranus, and but there's also going to be a need for structure and planning in Saturn and Capricorn. So basically, now if we go back and look at the Mayan tune calendar, which is what this represents over here, we're currently in the time period of the 7th day of the galactic cycle, and the galactic cycle is the 8th out of 9 cycles, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we're in the final stage, the 7th day of all of those 8 levels, so this is fruition. When we're looking at the model of the Mayan calendar as described by Carl Kalaman's research. The galactic cycle being in the 8th day, we're going to, on the March 9th, we're going to be moving into the first day, the very beginning of the universal cycle. This is going to be a time period where creation is going to move 20 times faster than it currently is. So, for instance, right now, a cycle of change of one of these days or nights takes about 360 days. During the universal cycle, it's going to be happening the same amount of change every 18 days. If you're interested in this, I really would suggest that you connect with Carl Kalaman's website. Mayan Magics is also an excellent research for information on this subject. But what I want to share is not so much about the past or the research, but I want to talk about where we are right now and what's going to be coming up. On March 9th, we're going to, 2011 of this year, we're going to be beginning the 9th level, which is referred to as the universal cycle up here, and we'll move through each of these stages of a day and a night every 18 days. So it's going to be intense. It's going to be a huge opening for consciousness. Lots of opportunities for growth, but if you don't know what's going on, it can be very overwhelming. The universal cycle is truly the reason that I've been presenting these videos. This is what really has inspired me, because the universal cycle is the greatest opening of consciousness that we've had since the Big Bang created this universe we live in. And, you know, I believe that the more people who actually understand what's going on, the better off we're all going to be. Because I can't even imagine what it would be like to be experiencing the undercurrents of this creation acceleration, and basically I feel like people would really become overwhelmed by that. So basically, I'm trying to get a lot of information out to folks so that that people are moving towards enlightenment instead of being overwhelmed and frustrated. I mean, people are becoming overwhelmed right now. All you have to do is look at the news, and you can see stories in the news where people are getting overwhelmed, and there's aggression and acts of violence, and this is just not necessary. So the more people that connect with this information, the more we're all going to have a better chance at making it to a higher state of consciousness. The universal cycle has the purpose of moving consciousness into a place of co-creation. This is going to be a time of new balance, a return to the feminine in all of us. It's going to be a balance between East and West, a balance between left-mindedness and right-mindedness, receptivity and strategy. I'm compiling information about the previous 13 stages, and I've actually mapped it out into a calendar, and basically I'm breaking it down so that we have all the stages and what happened in each segment, so that we can look at it, because that will give us an idea of what the flavor of each of these stages is going to be like. I've also compiled, brought in the astrological information. I'll be bringing in human design information. So basically, as we move into this period of acceleration, I'm I'm going to try and be giving out information about what are going to be the gifts of this. Where can we focus to make this more comfortable, but also to get the most out of this openness for consciousness. And this is unity consciousness and co-creation opportunities and opening of 9 dimensions of consciousness. So right now I'm going to be putting up one of these segments every 13 days to match the Tzolkin calendar. But as we move along, and we get into the Univesal, I'll probably be doing having these more frequently. If you are interested in viewing more of these, please look at my Facebook page, New World Birth, or the Facebook page, also New World Birth. And if you want to get a hold of me, feel free to email me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com. Thanks so much for taking time just to experience this, and I hope this is really helpful. Feel free to share it with your friends and family, anybody who you think could benefit by this. Anyway, thank you so much. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.